It is make or break time for the 2025 Yankees. I think we were already there, but these next 6 games will really tell us what this team is all about.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, happy Tuesday.
Stacey, happy Tuesday. Let's get another week going.
Yep. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, and hit that bell so you know when our videos go up. We're also on TikTok. If you're there, you can follow us at LockedOn_Yankees. We hit 222 followers on Monday, which was pretty exciting. On today's show, we'll preview the pitching matchups in the Yankees-Mariners series, which begins tonight in the Bronx. We'll take a Tuesday trek around the minors. A couple of guys were hitting the snot out of the ball this past weekend and the previous week. We'll tell you all about it. But first, it is make or break time for the 2025 Yankees. I think we were already there, but these next 6 games will really tell us what this team is all about.
And they're not easy games, that's for sure. Very tough series coming ahead of them. 2 playoff teams or 2 currently structured playoff teams in front of them. And not easy matchups. You know what's peculiar about? We'll go with the Mariners first. You know how there's certain teams in sports that no matter who changes on the roster, no matter who changes coaching wise, they always have the same identity.
Yes.
Right? Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, always really good defensively, always are a lock for 9-10 wins every single year. There's just certain teams every year that have an identity. The Seattle Mariners are one of those teams. Every year they pitch really well. They're led by really good starting pitching, and they don't hit. And that's a year where they have Cal Raleigh on their team, who's leading the American League, which, by the way, not a real competition for American League MVP. We'll get to that another day. But leading the American League in home runs, and we'll participate in the home run derby. That's really fun. But he'll come to Yankee Stadium and face the Yankees, a switch-hitting catcher, which is rare to see. But, yeah, this will be a fun series, and quite frankly, a really bad time for the Yankees to see a team like this because they're not getting Rodon and Fried in the series, and they're facing the best pitchers the Mariners pretty much have to offer. So it's really not a good timed-up series for them.
Yeah. We'll go more into the pitching matchups later in the show, but the Mariners are 48-42. They're in second place in the AL West. They're 7 games behind the Astros. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Now, the Yankees and Seattle played 3 games in mid-May. The Yankees actually won 2 out of 3, the first game and the last game, but one of their walk-off extra inning losses happened right smack in the middle of that series.
Yep, and that was a damper on the entire series, if I remember correctly. We left game 3 of that series and them winning and thinking, it doesn't feel like a series win after the way game 2 finished up. So that was a real frustrating one. Plus, that was a different Yankee team. We got to call it like it is, Stacey. That was a different Yankee team back then when they played that series. So, yeah, this team playing a home series, I want to sit here and say that this would be a good time for the Yankees to play a really bad team, like to play the Rockies or the White Sox, just to get one of those series you can beat up on a team.
But even then,
that's my point.
Yeah.
I don't think with the way the Yankees are playing right now, playing one of the worst teams in baseball would even help.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it can make things a little worse.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe playing a better team makes them step their competition up a little bit. Maybe. I'm not saying that's a definite, but, you can hope. But speaking of, teams that do take advantage of bad teams, the Toronto Blue Jays are currently playing the Chicago White Sox, and they're taking advantage of that series too. So the Yankees have to get on a little bit, motivated, I'd say, because the more and more you lose these games, I mean, you're still focused on making the postseason, right? And potentially winning the American League East. The more and more you keep losing games, the more and more ground the Toronto Blue Jays gain is the more and more trouble you're going to find yourself in, Stacey. You can't fall behind too many spots here because it's not as easy to come back from a 7-game deficit as the Yankees made it look.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's talk about the Yankees. So they've been struggling for the better part of a month. They're 49 and 41 in second place in the AL East, currently tied with the Rays as we're recording this, 3 games behind the Blue Jays as we're recording this. They're 3 and 7 in their last 10. They were 17 games above 500 on June 12th. They're now 8 games above 500. And here's a fun fact. They've had 2 5-game winning streaks, but 2 6-game losing streaks.
So it completely cancels out your 5-game winning streaks because if you're going to lose that many in a row, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about this, Aaron Boone calling them the best team in baseball. Stacey, they're closer to the 4th best team in baseball than they are to the best team in baseball record-wise. Yeah. So their run differential may be great, but that also gets a little masked, like we said in a couple episodes ago, by them having 12 10-run games and 1 20-run game. That really helps the run differential out a lot. So yeah. I think the Yankees numbers are a little skewed this year too.
Yes. And then it doesn't get easier after Seattle because the Chicago Cubs are coming in for the weekend series right before the All-Star break. And I've said this a few times. I said it last week. I said it on Monday's show. This was the series I wanted you all to look out for because this is the series where the Yankees usually have something I don't want to say catastrophic happen, but more to the point, embarrassing happen before the All-Star break. We cited some examples on yesterday's show. I will repeat them in case you're watching our show for the first time this week. But I always think back to last season, the big Ben Rice game in Baltimore that was completely ruined at the end. Alex Verdugo makes that terrible play at the end and the Yankees lose. The 2021 series against the Astros, they're up. I think they were up 5 runs. It may have been like 7-2 in that game. And they ended up getting walked off on by the Astros after celebrating and being jerks in the dugout about it and kind of getting a little too cocky. And they lost going into the All-Star break. And this is, along with the June Boone swoon, the pre-All-Star break series breakdown seems to also be a pattern under Aaron Boone recently.
And while that's probably due to the team thinking that they're going on vacation soon and getting out of there before ending the series, but with them also throwing Max Fried and Rodon in that series, you think, all right, they get their aces in the Chicago series. It's not easy for them either because they have to face Matt Boyd in that series and Shota Imanaga, who both have ERAs under 3, both in 2s. So you're also facing really good Cubs pitching. And on top of that, those are 2 of the guys with the most run support in baseball because the Cubs score the most runs in baseball. They flip-flop with the Dodgers every day. So if you look at the standings, it could be back and forth. Yeah. But the Cubs score an insane amount of runs. Kyle Tucker has had an unbelievable year for them, along with Pete Crow Armstrong. So they're a fantastic rebuilt team, by the way, because coming off that 2015, the 2016 World Series year and everything, a lot of people kind of thought that the Cubs were going to fall into mediocrity when they traded away Rizzo and they traded away Chris Bryant, and you thought, all right, they're gonna eat it for a little bit, and then they're gonna try and rebuild. Stacy, they've rebuilt. They're a really, really good baseball team, and like we've said, this is not an easy two series to have to play before going into the All-Star break. It's a really, really tough spot. But last year we sat here and said, oh, the Baltimore, that's a good spot to be able to improve yourself and play better going into the All-Star break and then jumpstart yourself coming out. And they didn't do that. So I don't know what's best for them right now. I'd like to say that playing a better team would give them more of an urgency to play better and because sometimes you play up to your competition. Yankees certainly have the talent, but they're not playing inspired baseball right now. And I don't know if playing a good team is in their best interest right now, because that team might just come in licking their chops at this point because they know the Yankees are playing so bad.
I really think that it's detrimental to this team to keep putting it in their head that you're the best team in baseball. This is just a blip. This happens all the time. Like, I feel like that's a bad thing for Aaron Boone to even put into their heads. And this team, the way they're playing right now, they will be lucky to go 2-4 in this 6-game stretch of games with the way they've been playing.
We say this all the time. Good teams in baseball win series. That's what good teams do. They consistently win series. They take 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. They split 4-game series. That's what good teams in baseball do. Good teams don't have multiple 6-game losing streaks.
No,
they don't. Good teams don't have consistent struts of losing. They don't. The Yankees may have done that the last few years, but what do they have to show for it? They won the pennant last year, yes. But the last couple of years with the Swoons, out in the ALCS, out in the ALDS. This is all, by the way, with the $300 million payroll. This team should be better and should have been better over the last few years than it is. It's just they're in a really bad spot right now, and they do need a chance to. They need a jumping point, a jump start point. But honestly, I feel more like they need the All-Star break. This team just needs time to sit back and relax and lick their wounds.
Yeah, I think this off day may help them in a way, because that was a rough stretch of baseball for them, and maybe it does help them heading into these 6 games, but I don't know. They've been playing really badly for.
Well, I think it helps double fold on to your point, though. The off day being after a day they played in Queens, they're not traveling today or yesterday.
True.
They're not on a plane. They're not on the road. They're not going back and forth.
They're in their houses.
They all went back to their houses. They ate a home cooked meal. They slept in their own bed. That there is a benefit to that. So hopefully it's something. However, the Mariners didn't play on Monday, so they probably had all of Monday off in New York City too. So double fold, I'm not really sure. But again, they need to pick it up. Like, case in point, like the Blue Jays are about to take a 3-game series lead on them again. And it's just, you let these things get away from you. It's not as easy as they made it look coming back from multiple game deficits. It's not as easy. And if the Blue Jays are going to hold on, they're playing some unbelievable baseball right now. Plus, the Yankees had the Rays on their tail, too. So it's not easy right now. It's really not.
All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on our videos. Hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, we're taking a trek around the minors next.
Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? And with FanDuel, you can get in on the game with your friends while they're getting sunburnt on the beach. It's the perfect way to watch sports. I've been all over the Club World Cup. I'm pulling for Real Madrid. They play later this week at MetLife Stadium. It's the best. It's so much fun to bet on. And I've been using FanDuel to track all my favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions that give you plenty of fun ways to bet. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm a part of the action at all times. Are you new to FanDuel? New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started.
So we have a new way, although it's a few weeks old now, but we have a new way for you to leave questions for Fan Mail Friday. If you are a YouTube viewer and you are not an insider, you go to our channel's page, you click on posts, and you will see the post that I put up that says, leave your Fan Mail Friday questions here. And I give you the deadline. It is Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We just make it very easy for you to leave questions. But last week there were 10 or 11 questions. The week before there were 9. So you guys are doing a great job so far.
And the views too, by the way. You guys are killing it. We're going over 8,000 views per episode. I know you guys must love it when the Yankees lose, because we do too. They are, the views have been great lately. So guys, keep it up. It's been amazing, and we're so grateful. And it's time for one of the second favorite segment of the other week. Fan Mail Friday is the most anticipated segment. This is the favorite segment. Stacy's Miners Report. Here we go.
Yes. If you're new to the show, we used to do this on Mondays, but we realized that doing it on Mondays was almost a disservice, just because Mondays are when we recap weekend series, and it gives us more of a chance to pay better attention to the minors if we move it to Tuesday. So here is your update from Scranton. In case you haven't heard, Spencer Jones has made a splash in Scranton since he's been called up. He hit a 445-foot home run on Sunday for the Rail Riders. He's up to 20 home runs on the season, split between Somerset and Scranton. And before Sunday's game, he was batting .393, .486, .821 in 35 plate appearances. That works out to 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 4 runs driven in, 8 runs scored. He's 2 for 2 in stolen bases. He has 11 strikeouts with 6 walks. His K rate is 31.4, so that's kind of around where he usually is, although sometimes he's a little bit higher than that. He went 1 for 4 with the home run and a sac fly and a strikeout in Scranton's 9-6 win over Lehigh Valley.
I will give you a bold take to the way Spencer Jones is playing right now. He will not get called up this year. He will not play for the New York Yankees this year. They are not going to call a player up with a 30% strikeout rate. They're just not going to do it.
Unless something catastrophic happens to the Yankees outfield.
Unbelievably catastrophic, yeah. With him, with the strikeout rate that high, they're not going to call him to the major league level. He'll strike out in every at-bat in the major leagues.
Yeah. Also from Scranton, outfielder Everson Pereira, who just became a dad, hit for the cycle on Saturday night for Scranton. But listen to this. He was 5 for 6 with a single, double, triple, and 2 home runs, but he hit the triple last.
That's an amazing day. I mean, wow.
Yeah. So far, he has an 870 OPS in Scranton. He has 15 home runs in 56 games.
Is that one of those things where if you have everything up into the cycle but the triple and your last at-bat, if that ball goes in the gap or down the line, you have to go for 3, right?
I would think so.
Even if you get thrown out at third base, you almost have to do it.
Yeah, I would think so. I believe an outfielder may have misplayed that last ball in the game of triple, but that's not easy. The triple is the hardest one to do out of all of them. And the fact that he hit the 2 home runs before the triple too, that night alone without the triple is amazing. And then the fact that he added the triple at the end is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Good for him. Maybe he got dad strength after his wife had the baby.
That is a thing I've heard.
Yeah. Moving down to Somerset, infielder Roc Riggio is one of my favorite names in the minors. And if you watch the show regularly, you know that. Hit a walk-off single on Saturday for Somerset. He had 4 hits, and it was the first 4-hit game of his career. And currently with Somerset in 116 plate appearances, he is batting .286, .353, .590.
Really good numbers so far. I do love seeing these guys improve as they go through the levels. It's very fascinating to really see whether or not they're going to continue to, because when they move up a level, they say that when you move up a level in the minor leagues, there are certain jumps that you make that are very, very, very hard to match to your play. So it's very fascinating to see whether guys can keep up their level of play when they go up a level, because the Yankees have tended this year to move guys up pretty frequently.
Yeah, because he did pretty well with Hudson Valley when he was there. And speaking of Hudson Valley, they went 5-1 against the Brooklyn Cyclones this past week. But for some reason, and I don't know why, I couldn't figure this out, the series was split between Hudson Valley and Brooklyn. It was like 3 games were in Hudson Valley and 2 games were in Brooklyn, or maybe vice versa. And there were rainouts
ballpark also. By the way, in Brooklyn, beautiful ballpark.
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous.
Haven't been to it. I've seen film of it because one of the New Jersey housewives has a charity softball game there, and it's been on the show a couple times. So I've seen it from there. And I've also seen pictures from people who have gone there. I saw it from the outside when I rode the Wonder Wheel one time, like 10 years ago. I don't recommend going in the swinging car. Don't do it. If you're afraid of heights like me, don't even go on that thing. I don't know you know why I did it? I saw 6-year-olds waiting for the swinging car, and I thought to myself, I'm a grown adult. I can go on this thing. And then it was the worst experience of my life.
You were swiftly proven wrong.
Yeah. Within 5 seconds, I thought to myself, why did I do this again? Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. Between
the Cyclone always frightened me too, because it always felt like that was one screw loose from just completely falling apart.
That's what the Wonder Wheel feels like, because I believe the Wonder Wheel is turning 100 in 3 years. So
we got to refurbish that stuff.
Yeah. It's frightening. Tampa went 2-3 against the Clearwater Phillies. Their series was also impacted by rain 2 different times. But it's just actually to the point where one game was just completely postponed. It didn't even say it was rescheduled. It was just like knocked out, and they didn't even bother to do anything with it. So they went 2-3.
Expect next week's edition of our minor segment to have the same reports too, because it's going to rain all week this week too in the United States.
All over the place. It's raining everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. The Florida Complex League Yankees are in third place in the Florida Complex League North Division. They're behind the Tigers and Blue Jays, which sounds kind of familiar because they're behind both those teams record-wise in the majors. They're 22-24, and they're 7.5 games back at the moment.
Which is the same lead the Yankees had on the Blue Jays in the major league level.
Right.
Too.
At May 28th, that's what they had. That's the lead that they had. And that's what's evaporated since then. And the Dominican Summer League Bombers are 11-13, and the Dominican Summer League Yankees are 11-14. I thought that was interesting because it's really close. One team has played one more game than the other one, and their records are almost identical.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to keep track of the Dominican Summer League and the complex leagues because everything's on the same website. And so teams don't have individual pages and you have to go through all the different games. And it's just really hard to keep track of. So I give credit to the people who actually do keep track of this stuff every day because I wouldn't be able to.
Because they're not down there covering the games. They're literally just doing it from reports.
Yeah. And there's, what did we say last week? 52 teams in the Dominican Summer League because some teams have multiples and like the Yankees have the Bombers and the Yankees. And it's a lot to keep track of. Yeah. I will say some of these guys have the coolest names I've ever heard of. I think maybe for next week, we might go through some of their names because it's just fascinating to me what some of these names are, and I cannot figure out for the life of me how to say them, and there's no name guide. So you don't even know. Yeah. Maybe when they move up a few levels, we'll get to know these kids because they're all kids. They're all, 16,
young.
17. Yeah. It's amazing. So there is your Tuesday trek through the minors. Spencer Jones doing well with Scranton. It's good to see. And Everson Pereira as well. And Roc Riggio hasn't had a problem since being promoted from Hudson Valley to Somerset. So that's
again, I don't think just to clarify though, I don't think we're going to see Spencer Jones in the major leagues this year, barring anything crazy in the major league level.
Yeah, I think that's it. I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if he were called up, and I wouldn't be shocked if he were traded, but I would be really shocked if he was called up.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, we're going to preview those pitching matchups against Seattle, and we will take a look around the league next.
If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time that you had a service emergency like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? Nope, you called the next one, and that's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your computer or phone. Did you juggle 2 phones just to keep that business and personal call separated? OpenPhone solved that instantly, and the AI agent handles all of your after-hour calls. It answers common questions and captures leads so I never miss a customer ever again. OpenPhone is now offering Locked On Yankees listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/lockedonmlb. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. And not only do we cover your team every day, but we're also giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees Postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman, and it appears right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. It's also streaming all over our YouTube channel. You can get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees Postcast. So, Stacy, as we mentioned, going into this series against the Mariners, they're going to face some pretty good starting pitching. Starting with Tuesday's game, that'll be a yes game. Will Warren will go for the Yankees, whose numbers have dipped after pitching really well for a stretch. He's going to have a bigger role now with Clark Schmidt out the rest of the year. So he's going to there's going to be a lot on him to be able to improve. Specifically those strikeout numbers, they've been really good this year. He's got 84 pitches, 84.1 innings pitched this year, 107 strikeouts. So that is really impressive for a rookie, but the ERA at 5.02 has to improve. He's going to go up against Logan Gilbert, who's 2-2 at a 3.40 ERA. That's as bad as the ERAs get for the Mariners.
Yeah.
So their pitching is unbelievably solid. It's going to be a very, very tough series for the Yankees.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier. And the one that sticks out to me is the last one.
It's a complete mismatch. That's Thursday's game. You're going to get Marcus Stroman versus Brian Wu, and Brian Wu's been outstanding for the Mariners in the ERA and the twos as well.
The Yankees
really
tend to have
spot.
trouble against him.
Yeah,
right?
They do.
Yeah.
They've really struggled against him. So they're not in for an easy series right here, too. You couple that with the middle game in the series. Cam Schlittler will get his debut for the Yankees. It looks like it. It's not officially confirmed yet, but all things point to that being his official major league debut. Not an easy spot where that's the game that you kind of have to win. So they're in a really, really tough spot going into this Mariners series. Yeah. Let's hit up some news from around the league, Stacey, before we say goodbye to you guys for today. Former Yankee Miguel Cairo was named the interim manager for the Nationals. That's after they fired Dave Martinez and Mike Rizzo. So Cairo has been the Nationals bench coach since 2024. He's filled in for Martinez on occasion whenever he's been out of games and stuff like that. And also Mike DeBartolo, he's going to be the new Nationals GM. Their ownership there is stating that they kind of just wanted a change of things and they wanted a new fresh face and stuff. But I do find that Dave Martinez being let go, I don't think is as weird as Mike Rizzo. The haul that he got back in the Juan Soto trade, they've been competitive all year. They've had a downswing lately. They've been competitive all year. He won a World Series the year after Bryce Harper decided to leave. It just seems like he deserved a little more leeway with his track record in Washington.
Yeah, I was really shocked by that news because, he's one of the longest, or he was one of the longest tenured GMs in baseball. And so when that news came out, I actually couldn't believe it. I thought, am I seeing that correctly? Because that doesn't seem right at all. But
and you don't see guys with that much tenure normally get released mid-season. Usually that's an off-season, step away on your own terms kind of thing.
Because are they 37-52? Was that their record going into?
Yeah, like they're not like great, but they're not terrible.
But there's no chance of them really doing anything. So why would you do this in the middle of this? Like, do you expect this to turn them around and maybe like compete in the NL East? Because
it's a lot of young talent that's got potential over the next few years, but certainly isn't a top tier team right now that we're looking at. So I found this move very peculiar, very strange, to be honest with you. This is pretty cool. Clayton Kershaw was being named to the All-Star game for the National League. He only appeared for the Dodgers, I believe, 3 starts ago. So he's definitely not up to an all-star performance this year, but they're putting him in as, quote, a special invite. I find that really cool. It's kind of like an honor for him towards the end of his career. Just reached 3,000 strikeouts. That's a really cool thing they're starting to do. It gives you a chance to honor. I never really liked when they were putting guys in the All-Star game late in their careers when they really didn't deserve to get in. And they were doing it just as a homage to that player, when in reality they didn't deserve to be an All-Star. This kind of opens up an extra roster spot on the All-Star game, so you're in the All-Star game, but it's not taking away a spot from another player on another team that can get in. This always bothered me. I know it's crazy as Yankee fans saying this, but like Derek Jeter's last year, his numbers were not All-Star worthy remotely at all, but they put him in because it was his last season. Mm-hmm. This would have been cool during that time because it doesn't take away from another player that could get in. So I kind of like this new initiative they're starting. Other notables, though, in the All-Star game, Stacey, of guys who didn't make the All-Star team. Mookie Betts will not be in, and also Juan Soto. Now, I know you may think Juan Soto, who had a great June, he actually finished as the MLB Player of the Month for June. He had an awful March, April, and May. So that's why he's out. Julio Rodriguez getting in and Juan Soto being out is kind of peculiar because Julio Rodriguez has much worse numbers than Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's hitting 268 with 21 homers and 55 RBIs. Certainly pretty good from the way he started. But I guess the Major League Baseball didn't deem this to be all-star game worthy. So he's not going to be in the game. It is crazy that I not see him in the game, though. Yeah.
And I was thinking about something. Not that I forgot about this, but Aaron Boone is managing the All-Star game.
With Joe Torre.
But Aaron Boone is managing the All-Star game. How will he screw it up? It's going to be fun to see.
That people have been pulling this narrative for the entire last couple of weeks, and and last couple of days specifically. It's been really funny to think about. If Aaron Boone plays Jazz Chisholm at second base, how much will you lose your mind?
I'm already losing my mind thinking about it.
Exactly. Pete Alonso declined his invite to the Home Run Derby. He will not participate for the first time in his career. He's won it twice. I think he just wants to focus more on his swing. That's a you can't fault the guy for that. He's done his part in participating in that game.
Oh, please. With all the dorky stuff that he always did during the home run derby. Like, he was so weird about it whenever he participated in it. Like, they'd show him in the tunnel, he'd be doing like, meditating and yoga and all this other stuff, and it's like, dude, it's the home run derby, calm down. So
yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and fault him for choosing to not do it, because he's held up his bargain on doing it,
because it always seemed like it was the most important thing for him to do, and he always needed to win, and now it's suddenly not a thing. Please.
I'll agree, but it does bother me that some stars in the game choose to not do it a lot.
Yeah,
right. Like you don't see Judge doing it, you don't see Stanton doing it.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah. So Cal Rowley's going to do it. Actually, that is pretty cool. But Alonso not doing it. That's fine by me. I think if there's anyone in baseball who's done their part when it comes to participating in the home run derby, it's definitely Pete Alonso. So I'll give him that. Also, Yu Darvish appeared on Monday night. As we're recording this, they're only in the first inning, so we really don't know how he's doing. But he's been hurt all year, so it was his first start of the season for the Padres. It's a big addition to make to their roster.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about Yu Darvish the other day, and I forgot that he was injured. Because, we're so Yankee-centric. I do kind of pay attention to what's going on around the league, but not as much as I should.
Yeah, it's easy to...
I'm laser focused on this team and doing this show. And I kind of forgot about Yu Darvish. And then I thought to myself, oh, right. Yeah, no, he hasn't pitched all season. Okay. Yeah. And is Michael King still hurt?
Now he is. Yeah. Well, I mean, he started the year off really good, but he's hurt.
Right. But he's been hurt for a little bit there. So, at the beginning of the season, the Padres, the Giants, and the Dodgers got off to incredible starts. Dodgers hit a bit of a bump over the weekend with the Astros series. So the Dodgers actually are playing the Brewers as we're recording this. They're down 9-0 as we're recording this. But Andrew Vaughn hit a 3-run home run for them. And Caleb Durbin, who was part of the Nestor Cortez trade, is actually contributing to the Brewers. Some people were thinking that, I think a lot of people were wanting him to come up and play for the Yankees, and then they traded him away because most people were like, oh, he's not going to be in the majors.
He's playing well. He's playing really well for them. And the Dodgers are also going through their annual multiple 6-game losing streak, their annual June swoon. All good teams do this, so.
I thought we said no, all good teams don't do this. Yeah, they're in a little bit of a slide here, the Dodgers. Actually, I was looking at Locked On Dodgers just because I was curious, and I saw someone call them the Dudgers, like the Dudgers. So I was like, oh, that's kind of...
They'll be fine.
Yeah, of course they will. They're the Dodgers. I'm sure they'll get something in a trade, and it'll be like a big thing, and everyone's going to be annoyed because everyone's going to be like, oh, the Dodgers get everything, just like everyone complained about the Yankees 25 years ago, always getting
Typical.
things. Yeah. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.